Hey guys, tonight we begin with the delightfully dysfunctional world of the ancient Greek goddess Selene, daughter of the Titans, rider of the silver chariot, she who crosses the sky not to shine but to watch. Before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here, and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Let's begin with the goddess of the night. High above the mortal realm where the heavens brush gently against the edge of eternity, the goddess Selene rode her silver chariot through the night sky. Pulled by graceful, radiant horses, their manes woven with threads of starlight, she bathed the world in a gentle luminescence. Every evening as the sun dipped below the horizon, Selene ascended, her arrival announced only by the quiet hush that enveloped the earth beneath her passage. From her celestial vantage, Selene observed the world below with tender curiosity. Humans fascinated her, their short lives filled with intensity, passion, and fleeting moments of beauty. She'd watched civilizations rise from dust, only to return to it again, yet each cycle carried unique stories and emotions that seemed inexhaustible. Over centuries she grew to understand the silent language of their hearts, the soft whispers of their dreams and desires carried skyward by their nightly prayers. Yet, despite her close observation of human affairs, Selene remained a distant figure, untouched by mortal hands or the turmoil of earthly life. The solitude suited her, though she often felt a quiet longing, a gentle ache that nestled deep within her chest, whispering of something missing. One night, as her chariot glided serenely across the heavens, her gaze drifted toward the mountains of Latmos. They were bathed in her moonlight, their jagged peaks softened by silver hues. Amidst the silent beauty lay the Valley of Shepherds, its fields lush with grasses that swayed under the caress of gentle breezes. There, beneath the sheltering branches of an ancient olive tree, Selene noticed a lone shepherd named Endymion. He rested peacefully, his youthful face illuminated softly by her glow. He was handsome in a simple, unassuming way, with dark hair that curled softly around his temples and eyes hidden beneath restful lids. His breath rose and fell rhythmically, undisturbed by the nocturnal murmurs of the natural world surrounding him. For reasons she could not fully explain, Selene felt inexplicably drawn to him. This feeling was new, powerful, and entirely unfamiliar. Unable to resist the gentle pull of curiosity, she guided her chariot closer, descending lower than she ever had before. Her silver radiance intensified, casting a shimmering halo around Endymion, as though even her celestial light sought to embrace him. Quietly, the goddess stepped down from her chariot, her feet barely touching the grass beneath her. She approached the sleeping shepherd, each step cautious yet full of anticipation. Up close, she observed the fine details of his face, the soft contours of his lips, the peaceful expression that adorned him in slumber. Her heart quickened, stirred by emotions she'd only witnessed from afar. Reaching out delicately, Selene brushed a lock of hair from Endymion's forehead. His skin felt warm beneath her fingertips, radiating life in a way that enthralled her completely. She had never known such intimacy with a mortal, and the sensation overwhelmed her senses. She felt connected, grounded, and entirely unlike the distant deity she had always been. The world around them seemed to hold its breath, as if nature itself acknowledged the profound significance of this gentle encounter. Time slowed, and for a brief, precious moment, Selene felt wholly present in the mortal world. She savoured this connection, aware of its fragility yet captivated by its depth. As she lingered, watching Endymion sleep, a sadness tugged at the edges of her heart. She knew the laws of the gods and mortals. Their worlds were separate, governed by rules older than the stars themselves. Yet, as she gazed upon his peaceful form, she found herself questioning the very boundaries she had always accepted. Could she find a way to bridge the impossible divide? Could her immortal heart find happiness in the fleeting world of mortals? Determined yet cautious, Selene reluctantly withdrew, her hand lingering momentarily in the air above Endymion. As she stepped back into her chariot, she glanced once more at the shepherd, her thoughts tangled with new-found emotions. Ascending slowly, Selene returned to her celestial path, resuming her journey across the sky. Yet, something had irrevocably changed within her. The night sky seemed brighter, the stars more vibrant, as though reflecting the awakening within her heart. Her mind raced with possibilities, questions, and a longing that refused to be silenced. For the first time in her timeless existence, Selene felt deeply and unmistakably alive. Her encounter with Endymion had sparked something within her, a desire that whispered promises of joy and warned of inevitable heartache. As dawn approached and her chariot dipped toward the horizon, giving way to the rising sun, Selene resolved to return, to know more, to embrace the emotions she had long denied. Whatever the future held, one thing was certain: her nights would never again be empty, for beneath the tranquil glow of the moon, a new story had quietly begun. Little did she know, her visits would not remain unnoticed. Hidden within the shadows of Mount Latmos, ancient eyes had observed their gentle interaction. Whispered murmurs began to travel through the forests and mountains, carried by the wind to ears both divine and mortal alike. Unaware of the unfolding complications, Selene continued her nightly watch, anticipation building with each passing moment, until she could once again descend to the sleeping shepherd who had unknowingly captured her heart. Chapter 2: The Shepherd and the Stillness. Endymion opened his eyes slowly, the gentle whispers of the wind still brushing softly against his skin. For a moment he lay still, wrapped in the tranquillity of the morning's embrace, his mind lingering in the remnants of a dream. A warm sensation traced across his forehead, an impression so vivid that it seemed as if someone had truly touched him. But as he rose, there was only the rustle of leaves and the distant melody of bird song. He sat up beneath the sprawling branches of the ancient olive tree, stretching and inhaling deeply, filling his lungs with crisp mountain air. The valley lay serene before him, bathed in the delicate gold of dawn, a panorama he knew intimately yet found ever-changing and wondrous. As a shepherd, Endymion's life was one of solitude and simplicity, his days guided by the rhythms of nature, his nights often spent beneath the stars. Yet this morning felt different. Something ineffable had shifted in the night, leaving behind an impression that he could neither understand nor dismiss. The dream lingered, its details elusive, but its emotional resonance strong. It carried with it a sense of longing, tenderness, and an inexplicable sadness. Endymion stood, shaking off the lingering feelings, though they clung persistently to the edges of his thoughts. He moved toward his flock, reassuringly familiar with their quiet bleating and gentle nudging. The sheep grazed contentedly, oblivious to the shepherd's unsettled heart. He sighed, trying to ground himself in the steady cadence of routine tasks, yet the sensation of being watched, of being seen in some profound and secretive way, persisted. He gathered his belongings slowly, allowing himself moments to pause and look toward the mountains, searching for some clue, some tangible evidence that the night had brought more than just dreams. But there was nothing unusual, nothing out of place, only the natural beauty that had always surrounded him. As the sun climbed higher, painting the sky in brighter hues, Endymion began his daily journey through the valley, guiding his flock along familiar paths. Yet, the sense of a presence remained, shadowing his steps, brushing lightly against his consciousness. It was as though someone had shared the quiet solitude of the night with him, leaving an unseen yet palpable impression upon his soul. By midday, Endymion resolved to dismiss the mysterious sensation. The practicalities of life demanded attention. Feeding the sheep, gathering water, checking for dangers hidden amongst the rocks and tall grass. But deep within him, a gentle ache lingered, whispering insistently of something more significant, something hidden just beyond the veil of his ordinary existence. As evening approached, Endymion returned to the olive tree, drawn inexplicably back to the site of his slumber. He sat beneath its ancient limbs, leaning against the comforting solidity of its trunk, and allowed himself to drift into introspection. His heart quieted, soothed by the rustling leaves above and the soft murmur of the nearby stream. Memories surfaced slowly, gently illuminated by the fading sunlight. He recalled brief glimpses of moonlight so intense it seemed alive, caressing his face with tender warmth. A face hovered at the edge of his memory, indistinct yet radiant, embodying a beauty and sadness that stirred his emotions deeply. He reached out mentally, trying to capture the fleeting image, but it dissolved like mist under the warmth of dawn. In his solitude, Endymion often spoke softly to the world around him, finding companionship in the silence of nature. "What has visited me? Unseen yet deeply felt," he wondered aloud, his voice a quiet whisper that blended seamlessly with the twilight. The shepherd pondered the stories he'd heard as a child, tales of gods and goddesses who watched over mortals from afar. Could such beings truly exist, peering down upon humankind, occasionally intervening or merely observing with curiosity? The thought filled him with both awe and a subtle fear. To be noticed by such divine eyes, even briefly, was overwhelming. He turned his gaze skyward, where the first stars emerged against the indigo expanse. His heart quickened with a new and startling realization. He longed to feel that presence again. Though the sensation was unfamiliar and unsettling, it had brought with it a depth of feeling he had never before experienced. Endymion closed his eyes, inviting the mysterious force to return, to make itself known once more. Yet the evening grew darker, and the silence of the valley remained unbroken. Disappointed yet oddly comforted, he recognized within himself a new openness, a willingness to embrace the unknown and mysterious. The shepherd felt a profound sense of stillness envelop him, accepting his place within the vast tapestry of life that stretched beyond his comprehension. As days passed, Endymion found himself drawn increasingly to quiet contemplation beneath the olive tree. Each night he sought answers in the silver glow of the moon, wondering if its gentle radiance held secrets untold. His thoughts became filled with questions he had never before considered, driven by a deepening curiosity about the elusive presence that haunted his dreams. One evening, as Endymion sat beneath the olive tree, he felt an unusual warmth envelop him, as though invisible arms had gently embraced him. His heart leaped, recognizing the familiar tenderness from his dreams. He closed his eyes, allowing himself to be carried by the sensation, realizing in that profound moment that he was not alone, that some mysterious force had reached across the cosmos to touch his mortal heart. With each passing night, Endymion's acceptance grew stronger, his fears melting away beneath the quiet certainty that he was part of something greater. He no longer resisted the enigmatic presence. Instead, he welcomed it, finding comfort and peace in its silent companionship. His life, once simple and solitary, had become intertwined with the unknown, forever altered by the gentle unseen force that now shared his dreams and his days. Chapter 3. When moonlight paused. The night unfolded like silk over the valley. The stars blinked quietly above, ancient witnesses to human longing. Beneath the olive tree Endymion lay still, not asleep but not fully awake either. His breathing had slowed to match the rhythm of the earth itself. The silver moon hung low, brushing the fields in a pale glow, and in the hush of that moment, time seemed to hesitate. Selene hovered above him, not with the wings of a goddess nor the thunder of divine entry, but like the sigh of wind through branches. Her presence was quiet, so quiet it made the heart strain to listen. She looked down at the shepherd's face, softened in slumber, and felt the weight of eternity in her chest. His dreams drifted around her like mist, fragile and fleeting, full of sheep's bells, olive groves and sunlight. Yet they were beautiful, mortal, finite. She reached out, not to touch, not yet, but to feel. And in that pause, in that breathless moment suspended between her world and his, the moonlight stilled. A night breeze stirred the grass, but Selene remained still. Her fingers hovered above Endymion's brow. What would it mean to reach down, to touch his skin again, not as a goddess, but as someone who felt? What would it mean to surrender, even just a little, to the warmth of a man who knew nothing of Olympus, nothing of glory? He shifted slightly in his sleep, brow twitching. A half-smile flickered on his lips. Selene drew back. The moment would not last, but it would return. Morning came without fanfare. The sky lightened slowly, with warm peach and pale blue dissolving the shadows. Endymion stirred beneath the olive tree, not quite ready to wake. His body remained still, but within his mind something lingered, a sensation, a hush, as though the night itself had whispered a secret into his heart. The dream had been vivid, not in clarity but in feeling. He had not seen her, not directly, but he felt her presence like the warmth of coals beneath ash, a presence watching, mourning, cherishing. He could almost hear a name in the rustle of leaves, one his tongue did not yet know, but his heart seemed to recognize. The weight of her gaze still warmed his chest. It had not been a dream of fear or desire. It was something deeper, a knowing, a mutual silence. As he rose, the morning felt heavier, not burdensome but full, as though a part of the night had chosen to remain. He moved with greater deliberation, tending to his sheep, collecting his tools but pausing often to listen to the quiet between sounds. There was music there, he was sure of it. A rhythm not of this world. Later he walked a path he'd never taken, not out of necessity but instinct. The hillside curved softly into a meadow kissed by moonlight the night before. The grass held a silver sheen, and the olive trees there leaned gently toward the sky, as if bowing. He sat down again, in the hush of that unfamiliar clearing, and whispered, "If you are real, come again." And though no answer came, he did not feel alone. High above, Selene moved with the moon. She glided silently across the sky, her silver chariot veiled in mist, her eyes drawn constantly downward. The heavens awaited her, stars to steer, tides to guide, dreams to brush gently with the balm of night. But her thoughts returned always to one valley, one tree, one sleeping face. Time had passed differently since she noticed him. Not slower, not faster, but deeper. She had loved before. God's love in bursts of flame or floods of wine, in lightning strikes and hurricanes. But this was a love that bloomed in silence. Selene was a goddess of rhythm, of constancy, and now she faltered. What was this man who could still the moonlight, who made her forget the sky? She sat upon the arch of the world and spoke softly to the stars. What do I do? They twinkled with ancient patience but offered no answers. A decision stirred inside her. Not a bold proclamation, not a vow, but a promise. Tonight she would go again, not just to look, but to speak, to reach. As she descended toward dusk, Selene felt a trembling in her divine essence. To intervene in mortal life was to fracture the balance. But what if this small act of tenderness, was not a disruption, but a thread woven into fate itself? She gathered the moonlight in her palms and shaped it gently. A gift, a question. And then the night came again. That night Endymion did not sleep easily. He lay beneath the stars with open eyes, watching their slow wheel across the sky. The stillness was comforting, but also expectant, like the hush before a first word is spoken. He whispered again into the dark, "Who are you?" This time the breeze did not answer, but then it did, softly, slowly, not as sound, but as warmth. A presence entered the clearing so gently that even the leaves did not rustle. Moonlight deepened around him, pooling as if drawn downward by longing. Selene stood in the clearing. He could not see her, not with his eyes, but in his heart he knew. The shape of her presence filled the air like a melody he had heard long ago. A feeling welled within him, not fear, not awe, but calm, reverence, and then a whisper, not from her lips but from the sky itself. "You called." Endymion's breath caught. "Are you a dream?" "I was," came the reply, "until you dreamed of me." He closed his eyes. A tear slid down his cheek, not from sadness but recognition. He knew this soul, though he could not say how. He knew her in the way one knows the sea without ever sailing, the stars without naming them. She continued, "I cannot stay. Not yet, but I will return." And with that the moonlight receded. The wind sighed through the grass, silence returned, but it was no longer empty. It was sacred. The following days moved with a new rhythm. Endymion's life was unchanged on the surface. He still tended his flock, wandered the familiar hills, and rested beneath the olive tree each night. But within him, something fundamental had shifted. Each moment breathed with anticipation. Selene returned, not every night, and never with fanfare, but always with stillness. Sometimes it was only a whisper in the air, a hush so deep it quieted even the stars. Other times, it was a presence more felt than seen, like the echo of a heartbeat inside his own. Their communion was wordless more often than not. Yet in those silences bloomed understanding deeper than language. He would close his eyes, and she would be there, in the curve of the moon above, in the soft silver falling across his chest. They did not speak of time or destiny, only of now. On one such night, Selene stayed longer. She appeared beside him, luminous and almost human in form. Her eyes held eons, and yet, when they met his, they softened. "You're changing me," she said. "I've done nothing," he whispered. "You've done everything," she replied. They sat in quiet, watching stars fall slowly like snow. The world held its breath around them. Time slowed again, not frozen, but poised, as if the universe allowed this moment, rare and glowing, to exist without judgment. And then, as dawn neared, she rose. "Until the next hour between worlds," she said, and vanished into light. In the weeks that followed, the valley changed with the season, and Endymion found himself watching the sky more than ever. The sun still guided his days, and the earth still fed his flock, but it was the moon he awaited, the gentle ascent, the silver hush. Selene no longer came every night. and he learned not to expect her, only to welcome her. Each time she returned, it was like hearing a beloved song after silence. He began to understand that their connection was not made of presence alone, but of memory, of echo, of trust built in the quiet. He spoke aloud to her sometimes, even when she wasn't there. Not prayers, but thoughts, wonderings, gratitude. "Did you see the eagle today?" he would ask the sky. Or, "The lamb that was born, her fleece is almost white as your light." And though no voice replied, he felt heard. Selene too was changing. Olympus felt distant. The divine chorus that once guided her now sounded faint beside the pulse of a single human heart. In her solitude she began weaving threads of starlight through the edges of his dreams, small gifts to say, "I remember." They had not kissed, they had not touched, but what passed between them was something greater. Longing took shape between them, gentle, unspoken and patient, a bridge not built in haste but over many nights, and though they walked separate worlds, each carried the other now. Always. Chapter 4. A love refused to wake. The nights grew longer. The stars blinked with a kind of hushed reverence, as if holding their breath. In the sky above the valley the moon moved with deliberate grace, slower than before, almost uncertain. Selene had not visited Endymion for many nights. She lingered beyond the mountain silhouette out of view, drawn to the stillness he had awakened within her. She watched him from afar. She watched the way he herded his flock by day, how he moved not with command but with care. She observed the way he sat beneath the olive tree as the sun dipped low, a silhouette of patience and quiet thoughtfulness. He waited, not out of desperation, but with acceptance. He never called for her, and yet she felt called all the same. For the first time in her eternal memory, Selene hesitated, not out of fear or doubt, but wonder. The gods were not meant to feel this way, not meant to long, to pause, to listen so intently to the rhythm of a mortal's life. One night she could resist no longer. She descended once more. The wind grew still, as though the earth itself had curled into sleep. A silver glow spilled over the edge of the cliffs and bathed the valley in liquid moonlight. Endymion stirred beneath the olive tree, as though his soul recognized her light before his eye could see it. She stepped silently onto the grass barefoot, her form soft and radiant. The moon, her throne, hovered above, and the stars formed a quiet choir. She approached him slowly, as if not to break the fragile beauty of the moment. Endymion opened his eyes and saw her. He didn't startle, he did not speak. He gazed at her, and in gaze was welcome, understanding, and something deeper still. Selene knelt beside him, a hand hovering above his. She did not touch him, but the space between them was charged thick with the unspoken. The world held its breath. "I've brought you something," she said softly. Her voice was a whisper threaded through leaves woven into the breeze. Endymion tilted his head slightly, curious but not questioning. Selene raised her hands, palms open, and from them drifted a shimmer of silver mist. It coiled in the air like breath on a winter night, then settled on Endymion's brow. His eyes fluttered closed, and so the gift was given. Sleep, deep, sacred, divine. A sleep not of forgetting, but of restoration, of renewal. A sleep hummed with Selene's presence, wrapping him in her memory, her longing, her light. Endymion breathed steadily, and for the first time Selene didn't feel distant from the earth. She knelt beside him, the goddess of night and dreams, and she too closed her eyes. Above them the moon did not rise any higher. It paused, perfectly still, as if refusing to interrupt the peace below. Time became something different in place. The shepherd slept, not with a heaviness of fatigue, but with the grace of surrender. Around him, the world exhaled. A long, quiet breath rustled no leaves, stirred no grass, moved no cloud. Selene remained beside him, her form unmoving, her thoughts flowing like tides beneath still waters. The divine did not usually rest. Gods moved and shaped the world, they raged and created. But here, under the quiet watch of her own moonlight, Selene simply was. She studied Endymion's face, memorizing each line, each curve of shadow and light. This was no passing fascination. She had watched mortals love, lose, rise, fall. But this was different. Endymion had not sought glory or divine favour. He had sought peace. And is what drew her the stillness, the gentleness, the utter lack of hunger for anything more than what was. He had not begged for her gaze. He had not feared her power. He had accepted her as one might accept the breeze, the stars, the song of a night bird, without resistance, without expectation. She reached out again, not to grant a gift, but to share something of herself. Her fingers grazed his temple, and a shimmer of silver passed between them. In his dreams, images bloomed, a sky of endless night, a sea of moonlight, a heart not bound by time. He smiled in his sleep. The olive tree above them, ancient and wise, seemed to lean closer. It had witnessed centuries, storms and seasons, but never a stillness quite like this. A goddess pausing, a man dreaming, the moon standing still. Selene thought of her sisters, of Eos, the rosy-fingered dawn, who rushed across the sky with fire, of Helios, who chased the sun with relentless brilliance. They were forces of movement, of change. But Selene had discovered something else. Sometimes to remain is the greatest act of love. She leaned her head back, eyes to the sky, and saw her moon, motionless in the heavens. It had not drifted further along its arc. It had waited, as she had. The stars shimmered in approval. In the hush between heartbeats, between breaths, a truth echoed through her. Eternity was not measured in motion, but in moments like this. Moments did not pass, but stayed. Moments lived outside of time. The night deepened, and yet the stars did not shift. It was as if the cosmos itself had bent to the will of the moment, holding its rhythm in reverence. In every corner of the valley silence blossomed, not the silence of absence, but of presence, profound and complete. Selene turned her gaze toward the hills. Their silhouettes softened under the weight of moonlight. Creatures would normally stir under her watch were still. The wind seemed to wait, suspended. The world had paused with her. For the first time in all her divine memory, Selene did not feel separate from the earth. She did not feel above it, did not carry the burden of guiding the night. She felt part of it. The trees, the stones, the sleeping shepherd. She belonged with them, among them, tethered not by duty but by desire. She whispered softly, words not meant to command or bless, but to share. Her voice brushed over Endymion's resting form like dew on a petal. In return he stirred slightly, not waking, but smiling again, as if hearing the unspoken conversation they now shared. He was dreaming, and in dream Selene walked with him, not as a goddess, but as a companion. Time slowed further. The moon, her own celestial vessel, ceased its ascent, hovering above like a halo of intent. Selene remained motionless, though her heart moved in ways it never had before. The past and future fell away. There was this moment, unshaped by fear, unburdened by time. Her fingers brushed the grass. She traced the earth's pulse and felt it align with her own. She did not know how long she sat like that. Minutes, hours, eons. But she did know this. She would not leave him. Not tonight. Not ever, truly. In decisions, something eternal was written. A truth older than Olympus. Love was not in the thunderclap, the miracle or the storm. It was in the breath held for another, in the gaze never turned away, in the moon chose not to rise further because a heart had asked it to stay. When dawn finally teased the edge of the sky, Selene did not vanish as she had before. She did not flee the light. She knelt beside the shepherd, kissed his brow and whispered, "Sleep, my love. The world will wait." And the world did wait. Long after gods had passed and cities had crumbled, the story endured. Of the goddess who gave up motion for stillness, and the man whose dreams touched eternity. In the days followed, the villagers spoke of strange serenity in the hills. The winds were softer, the nights brighter. Dreams became clearer. People awoke feeling watched over, as though something divine had pressed its forehead to theirs in sleep. They didn't understand it. Not really, but they felt it. Selene returned to Endymion again and again, each night walking the same quiet path from moon to meadow. She no longer drifted across the heavens with purpose drawn by duty. Now she lingered where her heart pulled her most strongly. When he slept, she would speak to him, not of gods or destiny, but of what she saw in the stars, of the colour of the clouds, of the curve of his lips when he dreamed. These whispers were carried on the breeze and tucked into the roots of trees, woven into the songs of owls. In Endymion's sleep her words found him. He would smile or stir or sigh in response. She knew he heard her, if in dreams. Some nights she stayed beside him until morning, her light dimming slowly so as not to wake him. On rare nights she shed a single tear, not of sadness, but of a joy so full it could not be held. And when, in the future, bards would sing of Selene and her shepherd, they would tell of a goddess who loved in stillness, of a man who was never alone in his deepest slumber. They would not speak of thunder or fire or war. They would speak of a love refused to wake, because in dreaming it had found eternity. Chapter 5. Secrets of the Lunar Silence. In the infinite hush between dusk and dawn, where time slows and breath hesitates, there lies a quiet realm that even gods rarely speak of, a place not governed by divine acts but by thoughtful contemplation. It was within this sacred stillness that Selene drifted alone, seeking a truth far deeper than mere dominion over the night sky. Her silver chariot no longer traced its usual radiant arc among the stars. Instead, she lingered at the edge of earthly noise, whispering softly into the vast silence. In the mortal realm, sleep quieted thoughts. Yet for divinity, there was no respite in slumber. For Selene, silence did not bring rest. It magnified memories. She moved gracefully through corridors of starlight, each passage echoing with reflections of her ancient past. The first exhilarating ride across the heavens, the initial spark of curiosity upon noticing the gentle shepherd below, and the countless nights she had sailed above him, unnoticed and unacknowledged. Each memory emerged vividly, summoned involuntarily by her deepening unrest. Suspended in this celestial quietude, Selene confronted a profound loneliness. Her immortality bestowed immense grandeur, but seldom the comfort of companionship. Unlike her fiery brother Helios, whose passion ignited the skies, or her sister Eos, whose playful curiosity heralded new beginnings, Selene bore the heavy mantle of stillness. She was the keeper of silence, the guardian of pauses between breaths. Yet even quietude grew overwhelming when its echoes went unanswered. Yet it was not solitude that haunted her most, it was revelation. Night after night, she watched Endymion as he slept beneath her tender luminescence, untouched by time's ceaseless flow. His years passed slowly, suspended like the morning dew clinging to petals. Selene marvelled at the rise and fall of his chest, captivated by the rhythm of his dreams, though their mysteries remained forever beyond her divine grasp. She could illuminate worlds, yet his inner realm remained enticingly beyond reach. Hovering above Earth's shadowed contours, Selene's reflections deepened. Was it love that bound her heart to his mortal life, or simply the ephemeral beauty of mortal existence itself? Gods did not crave permanence, yet neither could they easily relinquish desire. Her affection for Endymion was neither turbulent nor fierce. Instead, it was a luminous, steady ache, like the gentle glow she cast each night upon the sleeping world. Gradually, Selene began to comprehend that the quietude she embodied carried messages no sunlight could ever express. Her silence revealed itself not as emptiness, but as reverent contemplation, not distance, but devoted proximity. In this revelation, Selene discovered the night sky was not merely a canvas of stars but a map to the soul. Thus the goddess paused, suspended in celestial tranquillity, her stillness unnoticed by the sleeping world, yet intimately recognized by the heavens. Descending gently onto the moon's surface, Selene walked barefoot across the cold dust of Mare Serenitatis, the Sea of Serenity. On this stark lunar landscape, untouched by wind or time, she found footprints that would remain eternal, just as the essence of gods themselves. In her nightly vigil, she had always been the quiet sentinel whose gentle light guided lost sailors home, stirred poets' verses, and comforted children's dreams. Yet now, amidst the timeless solitude, she wondered how it felt to be observed in return. Endymion had never spoken directly to her, yet under her gaze his slumber deepened, his breathing slowed, and his expression softened. Perhaps, unknowingly, he felt her presence in the subtle margins of his dreams. At the edge of a vast lunar crater, Selene knelt, peering into a shadowed hollow that formed a mirror of contrasts. No water existed there to reflect her visage, yet her image appeared nonetheless, a delicate goddess whose icy eyes revealed profound sorrow woven into the silver strand of her hair. Reflected back was not the sovereign of night, but a being suspended delicately between worlds, drawn irresistibly toward a mortal she could never truly possess. Love from afar, Selena realized, was both blessing and burden. It freed the beloved from expectation, sparing them life's complexities, yet imprisoned the lover in endless cycles of yearning. Yet Selene sought no possession, only the quiet intimacy of existing near Endymion, wrapped gently within the rhythms of his breathing, his rest, his silence. Within her silent meditations, Selene grasped a profound truth. The moon did not create light, it reflected. So, too, her love mirrored the quiet brilliance of Endymion's peaceful existence. Where Helios might scorch, Selene merely illuminated softly beside him, a steady, nurturing presence. Beneath the indifferent turning star, Selene felt an inner awakening. Her silence overflowed with meaning, abundant with unspoken truths deeply felt and profoundly understood. The Sea of Serenity whispered silently, affirming her discoveries, truths not heard but sensed profoundly within the stillness. Barefoot upon lunar dust, Selene lifted her eyes earthward once more, observing Endymion's resting place beneath gently swaying olive branches. No longer needing descent, she understood he was already a part of her. The moon held secrets gods rarely spoke aloud, truths that resonated deepest in silence. Selene had become fluent in this sacred, wordless language. Certain truths, love, grief, reverence, required silence to preserve their purity. They had to be felt profoundly, cradled gently, and understood by the heart's silent rhythms. Selene remembered distinctly the night Endymion had whispered in his sleep. A single breath, a tender murmur lost in rustling leaves. Her name, spoken softly yet surely, wove seamlessly into the fabric of his dreams. It was neither plea nor demand, merely recognition, confirmation of a quiet bond, and for Selene that was enough. Olympian gods often demanded declarations and tributes, yet Selene's love required no offerings, no acknowledgement. Her devotion existed freely, unbound by transaction or expectation. In that whispered moment, something transformed. Not her love, eternally steadfast, but her identity. She transcended her celestial role, becoming an intimate witness to love's luminous presence, outside the constraints of divinity. Resuming her celestial journey, Selene's radiance softened, becoming gentler and more intentional. The stars watched in respectful quiet as she passed, earth spinning like a dreaming child below. Endymion, oblivious yet subtly touched, smiled faintly in his sleep. Selene ceased seeking answers or explanations. She'd uncovered profound meaning within lunar silence itself. The moon remembers because it must, guarding secrets of whispered prayers, unfinished poetry, and unspoken love. As Selene vanished temporarily behind Earth's shadow, it symbolized not absence but trust, darkness enhancing the eventual return of her gentle luminescence. Her journey was endless, silent, and radiant, not burdened, but blessed by the quiet endurance of love. In this sacred silence, Selene had found everything. Her essence resonated quietly across the heavens, stirring mortal hearts without words. In silent presence she achieved true peace, becoming not a conqueror of hearts, but their quiet guardian. Thus, Selene's story remained everlasting, waning, disappearing, yet always returning. Her silence taught the world the profound power of quiet devotion, allowing humanity, at last, to truly listen. Chapter 6. What the Moon Remembers. The moon had risen again, casting its familiar silver veil over a slumbering world, yet tonight Selene hesitated at the horizon, burdened by memory. Her celestial heart, once serene and distant, now ached with human-like tenderness, gently pulsing with recollections of Endymion. Each night she had softly illuminated his still form, murmuring dreams he never seemed to hear. But now the timeless silence between them weighed heavily upon her. The stars watched in patient silence, understanding the melancholy of celestial hearts drawn too near mortal flame. They had witnessed many divine beings entwined in human affairs, but Selene's story was different, etched with quiet passion into the very fabric of night. Each lunar phase whispered memories of the first night, the olive tree's gentle rustling, Endymion's serene breathing. These recollections now shaped her existence, transformed her immortal essence into a tapestry of yearning. Selene's chariot stood motionless, her pale steeds restless but obedient. Tonight she lingered above Earth's quiet valleys and silent peaks, her radiance soft and questioning. Could eternal love remain forever unspoken? Her thoughts flowed gently downward, drawn toward a shepherd whose eyes had never met hers but whose spirit resonated deeply within her luminous being. Upon the hidden terrain of the moon's surface lay valleys carved not from stone, but from memory itself. These quiet hollows were repositories of Selene's innermost emotions, unseen sanctuaries preserving whispered dreams and gentle sorrows. Tonight she wandered these paths slowly, deliberately revisiting each sacred space. Her fingertips brushed the faint echoes of the night she nearly spoke his name, trembling with anticipation yet silenced by immortal restraint. Another hollow preserved her profound question. Was this heartfelt longing or simply a divine loneliness gilded by silver moonbeams? The stars flickered compassionately, their distant twinkling a silent counsel, though Selene kept her gaze inward, seeking solace within herself. In this reflective pilgrimage, Selene recognized the forgotten essence of her divinity. Once revered from afar, celebrated in song and poetry for her gentle aloofness, she had exchanged distant worship for intimate, unspoken desire. This realization brought not bitterness, but an understanding shaped through quiet endurance. Loving Endymion without expectation, she had grown beyond mere divinity. She had become an embodiment of patience, a guardian of dreams whispered but unheard. Time drifted differently within the moon's embrace. It moved fluidly, in quiet whispers rather than hurried leaps. Selene, bound to this measured passage, had become the bearer of its softest echoes. Every shadow cast upon her now spoke silently of Endymion, every crater a testament to the gravity of her emotions. Her celestial form had become a living memoir of tender longing. She gazed down once more upon the valley where Endymion remained unchanged, beautiful in his tranquil sleep. Though his eyes never opened to meet hers, Selene felt certain their souls touched in subtler ways, bound by an ancient rhythm stronger than conscious awareness. Remembering their first silent encounter, she relived her cautious approach, the delicate wonder of each tentative caress of moonlight. In response to his profound stillness, she had woven dreams through constellations, whispered lullabies through stardust, and embraced the earth softly in silver arms. Their silent bond had taught her that stillness was not absence, but the profound presence of love, a love that required no validation to exist fully and eternally. As the night deepened, Selene finally moved, tracing her deliberate path across the dark expanse. Yet her heart remained grounded in reflective solitude, weaving her musings into the cosmic fabric. Each star she passed became a thread in the tapestry of her celestial memories, each glimmering point a story softly told. She now saw herself clearly, a goddess revered for her constancy, yet internally transformed by love. Her story with Endymion had unfolded subtly, like blossoms opening gently beneath her gaze. No grand monuments or lavish praises mark their tale, only the silent holiness of an unnoticed bond. Selene understood divinity anew, not in displays of grand power, but in the courage to remain tender amidst solitude. Her strength was quiet, her love gentle yet profound. Holding space for dreams she could not disturb, she found her deepest purpose. Endymion's unaware breath had become her anchor, teaching her patience, deepening her understanding of love's quiet power. Tonight Selene journeyed onward, leaving behind shimmering trails of quiet devotion. Her reflections mingled with the starlight, spreading softly across the heavens, each flicker a testament to the depth of feeling she carried. She accepted her role, not to alter the course of fate, but to lovingly preserve it. There was no sorrow now, only the quiet brilliance of a love eternal, unseen yet deeply felt. In her solitude, Selene discovered a profound truth. Love did not demand recognition. Its power lay precisely in its quiet, selfless endurance. As she reached the apex of her nightly voyage, She cast one final glance downward. There lay Endymion, peacefully dreaming beneath the ancient olive tree, bathed gently in her silver embrace. Though he did not stir, she believed with quiet certainty that within the depth of his dreams he sensed her presence. Selene moved onward, serene and resolute. Her celestial path was illuminated not only by starlight but by a newfound peace, a tranquil acceptance of her eternal vigil, and in her luminous heart she cherished the silent truth that bound them both. Love, immortalized not by words but by the gentle constancy of a moon that remembered every dream. Chapter 7. Sleep, as the moon watches. Night has stretched its silken veil across the heavens once more. The stars blink slowly into being, not in urgency, but in quiet rhythm, each twinkle a soft breath, a sigh of the cosmos settling into itself. And above it all Selene drifts silently, her silver chariot gliding along the dark curvature of the sky. She is not in haste. The world below is already surrendering to slumber. The hush of night carries a sacred calm. In this stillness, your breath slows. Your body, weary from the sunlit world, begins to release its burdens. Muscles soften. Thoughts lose their edges. The weight of your day, like moonlight through fog, becomes diffuse, gentle, far away. In the company of the moon there is nothing urgent. There is only softness, only the embrace of the dark. Selene watches from above, her gaze steady and soft, her presence like a lullaby stretched across the firmament. She does not need to speak to be heard. The silver glow she casts is her voice, and in that glow you are safe. You are cradled by something ancient and kind. Sleep does not come like a wave. It arrives like a tide. Low at first, touching your toes, whispering its intent. Then it grows, rises, carries you further from shore. The world you know remains behind you, hazy and fading. What lies ahead is vast, uncharted, and gentle. Let yourself fall, not with fear, but with trust. Sleep is not an end, but a return, to the rhythms of the earth, to the wisdom of silence, to the parts of you untouched by worry. The moon understands. She has watched the rise and fall of empires, the brief flicker of lives and loves, the way grief eventually softens into memory. She has known loneliness, yes, but also the profound peace that comes from simply witnessing. Tonight, she witnesses you. She follows the trail of your thoughts as they scatter, then slow, then settle. She sees your chest rise and fall. She feels the flickers of your dreams as they begin to form. Like Endymion, the sleeping shepherd who captured her divine heart, you lie still under her gaze, unaware of how deeply you are seen. You need not dream grand things. Even the simplest visions, a field of golden wheat, the hush of snowfall, a soft hand in yours, are enough. They are gifts. They are the language of sleep, translated by the moon herself. You're not alone in the dark. You're never alone. The quiet titan of the night watches you, not with judgment, but with reverence. Time bends beneath the moon. Minutes become stretched, elastic. Seconds pass like ripples across still water. You are floating now, not anchored by thought or plan. You drift through the in-between. Here, in this vast lunar silence, you begin to remember things you didn't know you knew. The shape of your breath, the rhythm of your own heartbeat, the way your body hums with life even as it rests, and deeper still, memories not entirely your own. The mythic memory of stardust, the slow pull of the moon on ocean tides, the ancient trust that darkness is not absence but fullness. Selene glides on, pulling the night with her like a velvet curtain. Her light does not demand your attention. It allows you to fade, to blur, to dissolve into the comfort of forgetting. There is no past here, no future either, only the breath you take now. Your starlight slowed, moonlight softened. You are safe. In the stillness, memories unwind like silver thread from a celestial spool. Not the noisy memories of obligation and stress, but the soft ones. The touch of sunlight on your skin as a child, the echo of laughter in an empty hallway, the comfort of a voice that once soothed your cries. These threads do not demand you follow them. They drift past gently like dandelion seeds on the wind. You may notice them or let them go. This is not a place of fixing or planning. It is a sanctuary of being. Selene weaves your memories with hers, not to bind you, but to comfort you. She knows the weight of eternity and the grace of transience. The stars, her ancient siblings, hum their eternal lullaby, a hymn without language that cradles your mind and body. Even now, in this moment, you are part of something greater, something timeless, something soft and luminous. As your breath deepens and your body becomes heavier, the moon holds you without arms, speaks to you without words. The quiet is not empty. It is filled with presence, with knowing, with rest. Imagine a forest under moonlight, trees etched in silver, leaves whispering in the soft night wind, a place that exists beyond the reach of day, a place the sun has never touched. This is your sanctuary. Here, your spirit may rest. In this gentle, shadowed realm, the moonlight wraps you in a hush. It touches every part of you, even the places you keep hidden. There is no need for masks here. The moon sees you fully and loves you all the same. Here, sorrow does not shout. It murmurs. Wounds do not ache. They pulse with the warmth of healing. You're not broken. You're not behind. You are simply becoming. Let go of the unfinished, of the unrest. Let the night hold you like the sea holds the tide. Let yourself be carried. You do not need to do anything. The act of being is enough. The moon, Selene, reminds you of this. Even the stars, ancient and blazing, do not rush. They shine in their time, and you too may take your time. The night is not a deadline, it is a doorway. There is a sacred space that lives just beyond the edge of waking, a realm where thoughts lose their form and dreams begin to breathe. You're nearly there. Not fully asleep, not quite awake. You rest in a velvet cradle between worlds. The veil between memory and imagination grows thin, and you drift where language begins to melt into feeling. The moon, still overhead, becomes a gentle beacon, not to guide, but to accompany. Selene no longer rides above. She walks beside you now. Her presence is not distant but intimate, like the faint warmth left in a bed long after someone has gone. She hums a lullaby made of wind and shadow, her voice an echo of silence itself. And in that echo your mind unfurls, slowly, delicately, like the petal of a night-blooming flower. You don't need to understand. You only need to feel. What you carry dissolves here. Regret loosens its grip. Doubt loses its sharpness. There is no right thought to have, no wrong path to take. Only breath, only stillness, only Selene's quiet companionship and the softening of your own self. You are farther from the waking world now. The shape of your body becomes less distinct, not in absence but in peace. Limbs grow weightless, like they've become threads of smoke. Your heartbeat slows, sinks with the tides, with the rhythm of the stars. Selene watches, not as a queen above, but as a sister of stillness, a midwife of dreams. She does not command your surrender. She blesses it. With every breath you dissolve more into calm, into night, into the hush that held the world before it had a name. Let go of knowing, let go of remembering. Drift. Your dreams wait patiently. They have been woven gently in the corners of your mind, stitched together from old comforts and soft hopes. They are not loud. They do not demand. They are the hush in your bones, the soft cradle of starlight that rocks you. Beneath you is a bed of galaxies. Above, the breath of a goddess. Within you, only peace. Now you may sleep. Not as escape, not as forgetting, but as a sacred returning to yourself, to the rhythm of the cosmos, to the infinite quiet that has always held you. Selene withdraws, not out of absence, but reverence. She leaves space for you to rest without audience, and yet her silver presence lingers in the hush, in the curve of your breath, in the softness of your chest as it rises and falls. This is not goodbye. The moon does not depart. She circles, returns, waits, always. You're held in her rhythm, rocked by her patience, healed by her stillness. Tonight, as you drift into deep, untroubled sleep, the stars whisper in harmony. The world turns gently beneath you, and the moon watches, not to judge but to keep vigil. You may let go now. Everything you need is already within you. Sleep, dear one. Sleep as the moon watches.